Welcome to the Postscript. Pastor Andrew here with the one and only Andrew 2. You're a descendant of a pirate.
Yes, that I said that wasn't going to be on the postscript, but I guess it will be. That is, I alluded to that in my sermon, that I do share some pirate descendancy.
And there's treasure involved here.
There is, yeah. So I am a descendant of the Rhode Island pirate, Thomas II, who, he 16th century.
Okay.
And his treasure chest is the only pirate treasure chest that has been preserved to present day. You can go check it out in St. Augustine next time you're up there. Yeah, in the Pirate Museum.
As soon as we stop recording, let's get in the car. Let's go to St. Augustine.
Yeah.
Can you lay claim on the bounty?
You know, I thought about that. I've been to St. Augustine a few times and thought, what would they just do if I just show my ID? But I think there's a little more rigmarole. But yeah, it is fun to be known as a descendant of the Rhode Island pirate, Thomas II. So I actually had a member at the King's Church recently randomly ask me if I was a descendant of the Rhode Island pirate, Thomas II. So
no way.
Oh yeah, just randomly asked me, hey, I got a pirate book for my son for Christmas. Do you happen to be related to the Rhode Island pirate, Thomas II?
Amazing.
So
amazing. So yeah, if you walked into the museum, I'm assuming it's in a museum.
Yes.
With a patch and a hat.
Yeah.
And then
That's right.
you had a corncob pipe. I think you could walk out with the treasure.
I'd be coming out with Thomas's doubloons.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. It's a real national treasure situation.
Yeah, that's right. The exact same stakes, for sure, as Nicolas Cage in The Declaration.
Well, in a similar way.
Yes.
In a similar way.
Yes.
We preached through John 1, verse 35 to 52. And in this story that John is writing for us, there are a group of people who find treasure. But it wasn't necessarily the treasure that they thought they were looking for, but it was the treasure they were really seeking, if you will.
Yes.
And we both left a few things on the chopping block this past week.
No doubt.
And so I came up with like 3 things that we could have said and didn't say.
I like that. 3-point sub-sermon. What we missed.
Yeah, these are the sub-points.
Yeah.
I've tried to actually alliterate them this morning. So we'll see how this goes. The first thing that stood out to me in rereading and listening to you preach, me preach. I didn't really listen to myself. I guess I heard myself preaching, but you know what I'm saying.
I got you.
Is that Jesus seems to be immediately forming community. Mm-hmm. He's not just pulling together a bunch of isolated followers, but they're in clusters and in community from the beginning. What do you make of that, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it says a lot there for sure, that it's, it's not this idea of sometimes you could think of a figure like Jesus as a guru or something, come and just, apprentice me in isolation, in the Tibet mountains. But no, Jesus is more interested in building a people from the beginning, and it is not to be too on the nose with our core value of following Jesus as he builds his church, but it was encouraging to see that that's actually from the very beginning what Jesus' ministry was all about, was building really his church, a community of these believers. And at first it is those who, from John's Testament, a couple of them, including Andrew, come to Jesus, follow him.
Yeah.
But then the consequential reality of following Jesus, being with him, is bringing others as well too. And so you have Andrew and Simon. Andrew bringing his brother, soon to be Simon Peter. But what I thought was interesting about that is who Jesus finds after that is Philip, a guy who's from the same town as Andrew and Peter.
Yeah.
There's some intentionality there, I think, of who, it's again, Jesus not building a super team, but he goes and finds somebody that's from the same city as these two guys, which just says something about the kind of the story that Jesus is writing here and the kind of community he's building. It's not just random,
right?
But it's purposeful who he's calling here.
Yeah. He's not going away from hometowns and away from his kind of normal, ordinary life to find these disciples. One other detail that kind of jumped out in the commentaries, different scholars have kind of pointed to, is that the two disciples that leave John, we know one who is named Andrew. Many suggest that the other disciple was John himself. That he would have been a young, possibly teenage boy at this time. So a very young John who doesn't name himself.
Interesting.
But rather points to Andrew and seems to have intimate working knowledge of these early events about those who followed Christ from the jump. So these two, their disciple, they're in community even with John the Baptist. They leave a community to join Jesus, to follow Jesus. And then you have Andrew bring Peter. Philip brings a dude named Nathaniel. And Nathaniel is referred to as an Israelite in whom there is no deceit.
Yeah.
Which should jump off the page if you've been working your way through CBR over the past couple months. We were in Genesis. Well, I guess that was months and months ago.
It was a while back. I mean,
I guess I'm still in Genesis.
On a long enough continuum, we're in Genesis again.
Yeah. But it's interesting that he says this phrase, especially with what he's about to say. What stood out to you about Jesus saying this to Nathaniel?
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Jesus goes there after overhearing the dialogue of Philip telling Nathaniel, "This is who Moses and the law and the prophets spoke of," and then to hear Nathaniel's skepticism or legitimate maybe criticism of this claim. Is he, anything good come out of Nazareth? This guy's not from Bethlehem. But then for Jesus to go to a very specific thing from the law and prophets to say, it would have resonated and probably hit Nathaniel between the eyes of, behold, an Israelite indeed, whom there is no deceit. And if you familiar, and a lot of commentators draw it out for us in detail, but and I alluded to it, that Jesus being fully God, very familiar with many Israelites who were full of deceit, who looked clean on the outside, deceitful on the inside. But specifically, one that comes to mind is Jacob, who's the heel grabber, whose name means also deceit, guile.
The supplanter.
The supplanter.
Yeah, which I like.
Yes, the supplanter. And so, which is going to be filled in more with how the this narrative ends in verses 50 and 51. But yeah, just this idea that, Jacob was a man who, in order to get the outcome he wanted, used this, deceit, seemingly good motives, but using deception to kind of acquire the ends that he wanted. And for Jesus to, make that claim to, say, it would have resonated, because Nathaniel obviously knows his own motives, but Jesus, I think, is even naming it within Nathaniel, thinks he doesn't even know. I think Nathaniel doesn't even know the inner workings of his soul in that way. I think there's some attitude here and flavor in verse 46 in his question. But yeah, that would have penetrated both the intellect and I think the heart of Nathaniel there, just to resonate with what Jesus is actually saying there.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Jesus is often, we say things like he's a good teacher, he's wise, he's these things, but Jesus is a genius. Jesus is a genius.
Yeah.
Because when someone comes and says nothing good can come out of Nazareth, that is loaded. That is loaded.
Yes.
But so can anything of from its origin, being Nazareth, be good? And Jesus goes, can anything from Jacob be good? So he's almost like answering the question with another statement that is really addressing the same thing.
Yes.
Even Nathaniel, who is of the tribe of Israel, is a Jacobite.
Yeah.
In some sense, in his origin. And if there's one thing, to your point, that we've seen in among the people of Israel, is that there's not a lot of good over time that's come out of Israel.
Yeah.
Although there's been little sparks of light. throughout their lineage.
That's right.
And so for the people of Israel, Nathaniel almost is standing in as Israel in what they were meant to be doing, which is just to be honestly watching and waiting for the coming of the Son of Man.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So right up at the top, we see that Jesus is calling groups. He's calling a people,
Yes.
not just mere individuals. Individuals are always grafted into a people, which is important.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that even makes me think too, just the idea that he's making that callback to Jacob, the father of the 12 tribes,
That's right.
revered guy, and the father of what the community of God looked like at that point, to Jesus saying, let's get back to the core of that, because as we're going to see, Jesus is going to, make it clear that greater things are ahead. And actually the way that the Lord's going to build the people now is going to be not disconnected from the reality of how he did in the past, and even looking to the father of the 12 tribes, but it's going to be, it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And Jesus is, it shouldn't escape our notice, he's gathering 12 right now. He had many more disciples than the 12, but the 12 are highlighted for their theological significance. We have 12 tribes that are then showing back up in these 12 apostles that the Lord is going to use for his purposes. The next thing that we glossed over, for sake of time and for sake of wanting to just keep the sermon plain,
that's right.
In some ways, that Jesus is the true Bethel. He's the true Bethel. We see this. I'll read it. I'll read it in your hearing again. Jesus answered in verse 50, "Because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than these." And he said to him, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." What is he talking about, Andrew?
Yeah. I know. It says another one of those things which I'm trying to also put myself in some of the shoes of the disciples, the hearers here, Nathaniel and Philip and any others who were there, of how much this would have resonated versus how much it would have just gone over their head. I mean, the reality is probably a little bit of both. Considering the fact that at the beginning he asked them, "What are you seeking?" and they go right to asking where he's sleeping. They're not quite following, but yeah, I think Jesus is continuing the same stream of thought and teaching that he of why he brought up what he did in verse 47, why he went there, of "Behold, an Israelite with whom there is no deceit," to say to point back to Jacob in that sense. But this is also from my understanding, an allusion as well to Jacob, and especially in verse 51, it's very similar to the Genesis 28 and Jacob's ladder. There were Jacob's in his dream, sees this vision of angels of God ascending, descending on him or the ladder. You can different scholars debate whether it's on him or the ladder, but that's neither here nor there. But this idea of heaven descending down to earth, and to not only say, I think he's moving a little bit, it seems, from saying, okay, here's Nathaniel, an Israelite with no deceit, the man who's clean on the inside, but how is that actually going to happen? How is that actually true, and who is it that's going, this idea of bridging down these heavenly realities, these realities of knowing God and being known by him that have been, in a sense, silenced prophetically for 400 years. But, Jesus is saying that the silence is over. And it's not going to be because of a ladder, or none of y'all are having dreams. I'm telling you right now, you will see these things before you. But he uses this title, Son of Man, that's very interesting and loaded as well. First time we see that in this gospel. And Jesus refers to it himself. But yeah, curious what in your study there, because verse 51 I think is loaded. What was pinging off for you there?
Yeah, a few things. The first is the Tower of Babel. Babel.
Babel,
Yeah. Babel is how most people say that, and I'm not even sure how I say it. But in Babel, Babel, which is Bob El, which is why I'm saying it like that. That
good.
means gate of God. Gate of God. And in Genesis 11, you have man trying to reach the heavens by their own flesh, by their own strength, by coming together and doing this thing. And that to me in Genesis opens a bookend that, okay, because immediately following that in Genesis 12, God says, no, I'm going to make a name for you. You're down here trying to make a name for me and knock on the gate of heaven. But even in that dialogue, what I love is the humor, because God looks down and he has to squint. He has to put on his not really truly his readers, but he has to squint to even see their little tower, their little building project. And he says to Abraham immediately following, I'm going to make a name for you. And so the question is then how? How will this be? How will you be this man who blesses many nations? And how is your name going to be established? Then he has a son. That son has two sons, Jacob and Esau. And then Jacob shows up, and we get to a place called Bethel, which means house of God. And in the house of God, we see this pyramid type thing with angels ascending and descending, which is the language here. And the top is in the heavens, actually reaching to God. And so there's a lot of significance to that. God is descending and ascending. He is the one who will make the name, who will establish this connection between earth and heaven. And in the incarnation of Christ, that is really what we're seeing. Heaven breach our reality in the person of Jesus. And so when he says you will see heaven opened on the Son of Man, Jesus isn't saying, oh, I'm going to point to this ladder. He's saying, I am the ladder.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And greater things than these will you see. You will see heaven come to earth.
Yeah.
And it's right in front of you right now. So what Jacob saw in a dream, another way you could say that is what Jacob saw in a dream, they are seeing in flesh and blood right in front of him.
Yeah, real time.
Real time. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's I think that is the key there too of and even thinking through the ways of the times in this this period of prophetic silence where God's people were still trying to babble it up and still trying to reach their way to heaven, and through and in ways just missing the mark on what even God's house looked like too, thinking through in the temple and kind of the perversion there. But just, it is interesting to think through how much, how could the disciples have really understood? Obviously, we follow the gospel. They kind of stumble through it. As we would have too. But to kind of look through with a full biblical kind of theology view of that is, that's encouraging, and to us to see it's been God's plan from the get-go. Is that he knew, he squinted down and said, okay, you guys, nice try, but this is going to require me coming down to you and bringing this to you. Yeah,
and I think it makes some sense as we'll see through John and the other Gospels, you see this escalation of hatred of Christ and animosity towards Christ. And we can quickly say, oh, that's because they felt threatened. Religious leaders and powers and authorities felt threatened, which is part of the story. Another part is he comes and he says things like this. He's saying the story that they knew the story of Bethel. This was an iconic moment in the history of Israel. And they knew it. And he's saying, I am. I am this. And I mean, we would rightly respond to somebody with like some serious
Right.
big like bug eyes
Oh, yeah.
over statements like
Sure,
that.
yeah. It's a difference between saying I saw, I heard, I know versus I am these things. This thing.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
we're gonna spend probably 20 weeks talking about I am. So we'll leave that one alone. But yeah, so we see that Jesus is calling a people.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just calling individuals. The individuals are already always part of a collective.
That's right.
They're always part of a community. We're seeing that Jesus is the true Bethel, the meeting place of God and man, the one who brings heaven to earth. And then the last thing that I thought we could talk about for a minute is that Jesus is just calling these ordinary folks, and he's calling them to be witnesses to God's even greater story that he's writing in real time.
That's right.
What do you make of just the ordinariness of these guys who are getting called?
Yeah. I mean, and I do love that in John's gospel, we don't get a lot of descriptors about these guys.
Yeah.
Exactly. Other gospels fill in a little more commentary about their background, professions. But from what you know of that, those are a combination of very ordinary or even checkered
Right.
pasts of not the people that you'd want to associate with, and political zealots and whatnot, even fishermen, blue collar. There's something beautiful in that too. That the call that Jesus had. He's not assembling super team. I try to go with the transfer portal analogy, which may have been lost on some. I apologize. It's more out of my own just frustration with the state of college football. But he's not assembling just like sometimes you'd watch those greatest hit album compilation infomercials at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
They're just
25 CDs.
25 CDs for 3 easy payments of $19.95. Yeah. It's and they'd bring the best hits ever, or the best artists on one CD, and we're drawn to that kind of thing. We want the best of the best, the top 10 plays, the best artists of all time. Give me the Spotify playlist of top 100 songs, the Billboard top whatever. That's just not how Jesus is working here. He's he's assembling guys that, and even just the idea that, and that's what I love, was so encouraged of what him bringing transformation to Peter's name and identity before Peter does a dadgum thing.
Yeah.
Peter hasn't done anything.
Right.
Which just, when's the last time we've got a promotion before we did anything?
Right.
Or anything
Never.
like that. Never. You
Yeah.
got to put some work in. And so just that idea that I think Jesus makes that explicit too, that, the workmanship that these guys are, the good works he's prepared for them to walk in, truly are beforehand.
Right.
Before they've done and said a thing.
Yeah.
Which I think that is hard for us as Christians to rest in that reality, because that there is this view that we can wrestle in our salvation and sanctification, that, oh yeah, God, of course he saved me. Yeah. And now it's on me to move the ball down the field some more, sanctify.
Yeah.
But the idea that when Jesus saved us, when we encountered him, when we were with him, in that moment, we're drawn to Christ, and we're saved, brought from the death of our sin to life, that like, it's all done. It's all set. That boulder's rolling down the hill, baby.
Yeah.
It's going.
Yeah.
And I think that, maybe not as much in the ordinariness of those guys, but just the sweetness of like how, these guys weren't coming in with the greatest repertoire or even going to have really that much on paper to contribute to Jesus's mission, truly from a financial or skill perspective.
Right.
So,
Yeah. He's choosing the weak, the despised, the lowly, the outcast.
yeah.
Those who had failed out of their good rabbinical schools. And he's like, these are my guys.
That's it.
And he's choosing what is weak and what is lowly and humble, so that rightly God would get the glory for all that he's going to do, and then through these ordinary guys. And the greater things, I love the contrast of that. While these guys are ordinary, Jesus is extraordinary.
Yes.
And it's kind of like maybe the illustration we both should have used is like you're picking a team in recess.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going for the heavy hitters.
Definitely.
And you're going for those who have the power to play kickball in a profound way. I remember recently I was officiating a wedding, and someone sized up a couple of us wrongly, and put us all on the same team.
Yeah.
And it was a slaughter. You know, they thought surely this priest over here, this bishop can't hang, and we crushed him.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
That's great. It's a big moment.
The Lord Jesus, in a more profound way, he knows our weakness. He knows our frame. He knows that we are dust, and he knows that apart from his work, there's not really anything good in us.
Yeah.
And the greater things that are promised are only realized by abiding in Christ, by proximity to Christ, by following him, dwelling with him. Yeah, I love the like quiet, immediate obedience of Andrew. You know, Andrew, he like really does fade away. The same with John the Baptist. John the Baptist points, and then we know that he will decrease.
Yeah.
And then even Philip. Philip kind of fades a bit into the background, and Nathaniel gets more prominence in the narrative. And that's how we should be.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be just totally settled before the Lord.
Yeah.
To point other people to Jesus.
That's right.
Share Jesus, and then just give him praise and honor and glory for whatever he does with their life, because it's not because of us.
Right. Yeah. You don't hear the story of how, you know, Andrew began to increase in Peter's life from this point on, or Philip increased in Nathaniel's life from this point on.
That's right.
And that's the point of and that's the idea that struck me is, man, when for us as Christians, the people that get to know us and we truly know where our hope and trust and faith is, do they become more interested in Christ, you know, and less interested in us?
Yeah.
You know, or is there, you know, interest or attachment to Christ or curiosity only dependent on me, my personality, my giftedness, you know?
Yeah.
It's so easy to conflate that and to fall into that. But yeah, just the idea that these men were, you know, seemingly content with just bringing people they loved and cared for to Jesus, and then seeing Jesus change them.
Yeah. Jesus is the conductor. He is the caboose? Is that the front?
I think the caboose is the back of the train.
Oh, the other way around. What's the front?
The front of the
Just
train?
the front of the train?
I think it's the engine. Steam engine.
The steam engine.
Yes.
I appreciate my brothers helping me remember childlike details of.
That's right. No, he's the whole enchilada.
Yeah, he is. But if you begin to think that you are, and that you need to be extraordinary, the burdens and weight of discipleship and ministry will crush you. But if you're simply just following Jesus as he builds his church, recognizing rightly that he is the great shepherd, we are just serving at his pleasure, and we just get a ride on the train that he is really driving. Then it changes the whole experience of the journey of discipleship. So I love it. I mean, Jesus is truly forming a people. Jesus is the meeting place of heaven and earth, bringing the two together in his incarnation, in his crucifixion, in his resurrection, in his ascension. He has begun the work. He's faithful to see it all the way through. And so however ordinary you might feel, the Lord is doing extraordinary things in your life.
Amen. You don't have to be a pirate.
You don't have to be a pirate to get in on it.
To bring it full circle.
Yeah, I love that. And the treasure worth leaving everything for is Christ. All of the riches of this world, all of the approval of this world, the applause, the praise, the success, all of it grows strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace.
Amen.